there any questions that and we're live.
So Zac, after we go live, we just get the people in the Facebook group and YouTube a couple minutes, come on in, then we start shooting shit. All right, I think we let me see.
Oh, Rex, if you got access to Facebook, go to my page and share it on your page.
Gotcha. On it right now.
But you got to do the one on my page because you know the group one won't let you share it. Page and share it on your page.
All right, we in. So it's marked as an announcement now. So I think we up top. Got that YouTube link, Ed?
I'm getting the joint now. Hold on.
All right. What's up, Kim? Yeah, do me a favor, put it over here in the chat in StreamYard too.
Okay, I just put it in the chat. Oh shit. My bad.
Y'all ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome everybody. Welcome Facebook. Welcome YouTube. We have a very special guest this week. As always, our guests are very special. We have Zac Hartley in the building tonight of Zac Hartley Trading via Canada, Calgary, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Thanks for having me.
Good. Welcome, my brother.
I feel like we should have
Welcome to the show, man.
Go off to introduce him.
What'd you say, Rex?
Should have a regular horn go like
Need some sound effects.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, you need to go ahead and get that intern for that, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I think we've all formally introduced ourselves. So, Zac, I'm Rex. Met Ed at University of Maryland, and we kind of been going back and forth to this thing for a couple months. I want to introduce yourselves as well.
Yeah, I'm Chad. I've known Ed for probably about 30 years now.
God damn, don't show our age. God damn. It took 15 years. Damn, man.
Yeah, we went to high school together, man. I've known this knucklehead for a long time, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, I'm Ed, CEO of operations.
Sweet. Right on. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
You want to go ahead and give a little background on yourself, on what you do and the platforms you have right now?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm born and raised here in Calgary, Alberta. I went to business school here in the city and then graduated in 2016. And then when I graduated, I started a company. And you guys know what Shark Tank is, right?
Yeah.
The Canadian version of Shark Tank called Dragon's Den. And we did pretty good there. We got a deal. We ran with it for a little while. And then right at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we exited the company right before Corona. So we got really lucky with that. I went traveling for like 2 months, and then the pandemic hit, and I got basically told to come home by the government. So I booked my flight home. I'm in lockdown at home, and I'm like, okay, I got a little bit of change in my pocket. What are we going to do here? And I've been trading the stock market sort of on and off for the last few years. So I decided to create a YouTube channel about how I look at a stock, how I invest, and how the stock market works. And so I started that in like April or May of last year, and now fast forward just under a year, and the channel's grown to about 21,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, I put together. I got a lot of questions about like, hey, I'm really new. Where do I start? So on top of the YouTube channel where I talk about individual stocks, I put together a little bit of a course. It's a 9-hour kind of video course that's like step by step how the stock market works, how to understand it, and then how to build a strategy based on technical and fundamental analysis. And so that's hosted on Skillshare, which is kind of like the Netflix of courses. And that course now has over 3,200 students that have gone through the course. It's got over 700,000 minutes of watch time, and it's completely free. When somebody signs up with the link under one of my videos, you get 2 weeks free trial on Skillshare, and then you can cancel your subscription. So I make videos on YouTube, and then I have a free course on Skillshare, and that's pretty much my story.
That's good stuff, man.
Inspirational.
So who actually called you from the government to tell you to get your butt home, man?
It was so Justin Trudeau, who's the Prime Minister of Canada. He quite literally went into a press release and said, if you're a Canadian traveling abroad, his words were, it's time to come home. So I'm sitting there, I'm in Bali in a coffee shop, and I see this on Facebook, this video come up, and I'm like, okay, geez, that's not good. And the night before, I had looked at flights, and they were $700. And then he said that, and I looked at flights, and they were $1,200. And I was like, okay, this is clearly going only in one direction, so it's time to just book the flight. So went home, and then lockdown hit, and now and then that was kind of the start of my YouTube channel, and now it's been kind of a blessing in disguise. Things have grown exponentially, and I got a couple subscribers on YouTube now. My portfolio is doing pretty good, and it's opened up a lot of doors. So things are good.
A couple, just a few thousand, upwards of 21,000.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So do you run into any kind of, problems trying to deal with U.S. and Canadian like customers? As far as like when your Discord, do you get like different questions from like Canadians versus different questions from U.S. citizens?
I'd say the biggest challenge with regards to that is the account types. Like in Canada, we have like the names of the accounts that give you any type of tax advantages are completely different. We don't have a Roth IRA. We don't have a 401k. So that terminology is completely different. So if somebody sees me for the first time and then they watch one of my videos and I'm talking about a tax-free savings account, a TFSA, but they're based in the US, like it just doesn't link up. So that's been like one of the challenges. And then some people don't understand the tax implications of being a Canadian and buying a US stock, particularly when they pay a dividend. So there's a couple of things there. Like we have a 15% withholding tax on any U.S. dividends unless you hold it in one particular type of account. So little things like that. But other than that, the technical analysis, the fundamental analysis, all of the same rules and fundamentals and principles apply whether you're Canadian or U.S. So probably just those like small technical details have been the only hurdle.
Got it.
Okay. And I've been watching your channel for a few months now, and sometimes you had some stocks I couldn't find, and come to find out it was on that's I guess the Canadian stock exchange. How can I buy those stocks from the U.S.?
It really depends on the broker you use. So
Robinhood.
Yeah, that's why.
Webull.
No, yeah. If it's an application, they usually have the top 2,000 stocks or the top 5,000 stocks that are most highly traded. Those are usually the selection that they have. You might need to go to like a TD Thinkorswim or a Lightspeed or a different broker like that to get access to these ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We got that same problem though here in Canada. So like our comparative to Robinhood is called Wealthsimple, and they only have the 2,000 most highly traded stocks in Canada and the US. So they can hardly access most of the penny stocks.
Yeah.
What do you mean by only? So whatever the top 2,000 is, that's the only thing they'll allow you to purchase?
Yeah. So like most of these applications are helping you to buy and sell the shares through a clearinghouse. And the clearinghouse is the one that's actually making the trade on the back end. And those clearinghouses will only give the application or Robinhood or Wealthsimple access to a certain number of securities, mostly for liquidity reasons. My understanding of it. It starts to get a little bit complicated, but I'm working with a company here in Calgary, for instance, that's planning to launch an application that can do fractional shares. They'd be the first company in Canada with fractional shares. And they have that issue where they can only get like 2,000 of the most liquid stocks on the market in their offering as a fractional share offering, just because there's liquidation limits.
Gosh,
Interesting.
So speaking of clearinghouse, since that's a key word, what did you think about? We had a debate about this. What did you think about the Robinhood with the
AMC GameStop fiasco?
Yeah, I was saying it wasn't their fault. They didn't have the money. If they don't got the money, you can't do nothing because you have a clearinghouse who wants all this. So everybody's mad at Robinhood, but they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, that one's really tough. And honestly, I think there's only a couple of people that really understand all the dynamics that happened there.
Right.
So like if they absolutely had to do it, then like you have to do it. But the fact that they only did it for the stocks that were in the short squeeze and not Apple or Square or Microsoft or Google or the other stocks is pretty concerning in my mind.
But Apple's not moving. Apple's staying the IV on Apple is not going nowhere. So you know what I'm saying? If you get Apple, I know it's not going to shoot up to $200 or 100%.
Come on, Ed, don't say that, man. I got some money in Apple.
Apple's still at 120, man. I gave up on Apple, so you know what I'm saying. The volatility is not there for Apple, so I can cover that bet.
Yeah, I don't know all of the insights. Like if they absolutely had to do it, then you got to do it. But like if there was any way to not do that, you would have hoped that the management would have refrained as long as possible, even if Robinhood ended up taking a hit on it. You would have hoped that they would have just played by the rules, and that's not what happened, which is a little bit disappointing. In Canada, payment for order flow, which is one of the main issues there, is actually still illegal. So Questrade is the day trading brokerage that I use, and it's totally illegal to do any payment for order flow in Canada at the moment. And they waited on it to basically see what happened in the US, and now because of what happened, I don't think it'll ever be available here. For maybe just cause, I think we'll find that out in time, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that? What did you guys think?
Me, I said it was, man, they did what they had to do. They didn't have the money to cover those, you know what I'm saying, those bets, basically. So I didn't see nothing wrong with it. And other brokers did the same thing. So it wasn't just Robinhood. Webull did it. I think E-Trade, I want to say.
But everybody limited the same exact way, though.
Yeah, those bigger brokerages didn't limit the same way. I agree with what Ed is saying, is that, they probably felt they did what was best, but in the same breath, if you don't have the money to cover a margin, you don't have to restrict trading. You can restrict the use of margin for those trades, so people are only purchasing stocks that there are actually funds available for. So I understand, hey, we gave this Wendy's fast food clerk $20,000 to trade with. That $20,000 is digital/fictional. But if he has a liquid $100 in his account, he should be able to use that $100 to buy GameStop.
I agree with that. If you had the cash in your account, you should have been able to buy GameStop.
And shouldn't have been restricted at all.
No. But they use a clearinghouse. The clearinghouse is the one who pays for it, because when you make a trade, it takes 2 days for it to clear. So the clearinghouse is the ones who actually putting the money up.
We're fronting the money, right? Which is why if they're if traders are only trading with liquid funds that are available, in those 2 days, the money would be available. That's only a concern if they do that with a margin that someone actually can't cover.
Right. Them people was, man, all those, they was going, it was like $1 billion they was going to have to pay.
But was that a margin or was that?
No, what I'm saying is, right, if I owe $1 million, right, they don't know if they're going to get the money back from me. But if you selling your stock, you're going to want your money back. You're going to want your money right then and there. You understand what I'm saying, Rex?
I'm not sure if I'm tracking. If
Okay,
the money is liquid,
listen. No. I'm gonna put it in betting terms. I'm a booker. Chad bets on the Super Bowl for $1 million, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I got a clearinghouse who's covering that bet, and then once all the bets are clear, I'm paying the clearinghouse back.
Okay.
Okay. Now you make a bet on the other team in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's say whoever wins, Chad loses. You win. You want your money, right? I can't tell you, hey, I have to get the money back from Chad before I can pay you.
Again, I think that would have been a better solution. If people said, hey, if you trade GameStop, it's going to take 1 to 2 business days for your money to clear. I think people would have received that much better than you are not allowed to trade this, even if you have the funds to do so.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, man.
Hey, Zach, and you want to put me on to that drone company Takeoff. I appreciate that.
Drone delivery. Right. Nice. Did you, you're into it at a decent price?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right on.
I got a few hundred shares of it.
Sweet. That's been one of my that's definitely been one of my better trades. I'm in at like 64 cents and people called me crazy when I got in at that level.
Yeah.
Nice. That's actually one of the first videos Chad shared of you. I actually watched that one. So going off that, I guess, what makes a stock a good buy for you? I know we spoke a little bit earlier. You said maybe 3 to 4 hours of research on your end before you even get in front of a camera. Like, what is that? What's entailed in that 3 to 4 hours of like grind time you're putting in?
Yeah, I think for me, like my whole thing is I want to start with the big picture. So like, what country do I want to invest in? What industry do I want to invest in? So 9 times out of 10, it's Canada and the US. And then what I'm trying to do, and if you watch my videos or you look at my portfolios, what I'm trying to do is focus on industries that I think are going to see exponential growth over the next few years. So for me and my YouTube channel over the last year, that's been drones, that's been psychedelics, that's been graphene, that's been technology, that's been cryptocurrency, and it's been betting in sports or esports. Like those are industries where I look for, or where I think personally, we are going to see very high growth in those industries. And so for me, I'd much rather buy companies in an industry that's growing very quickly rather than an industry that's growing or maybe declining. So that's where I start. And then once I've chosen that industry or selected it, I try to find the best companies or the companies with the most potential in that industry. So that's how I found Drone Delivery Canada. Is I thought, like, I had a DJI drone and I'm like, this thing is amazing. This thing is the future and I don't see them anywhere yet. So like this has got to change the world. And so I went out and I found 5 or 6 different drone companies. And I said, it's really young right now. Like some of these companies have revenue. Some of them don't even have revenue. So who has the best business model? Like who has the most scalable business model that I am going to be really proud to own in 5 years? And the answer to that was Drone Delivery Canada. The reason for that is because they're a drone company, but realistically, they're a software company because they are selling the drones to partners that are going to then set up operations to do drone transportation. It's not Drone Delivery Canada going in. It's Drone Delivery Canada selling packages all over the world and then making monthly reoccurring revenue. And that's just a better business model than the other companies in the space. So that's how I found Drone Delivery Canada. And that's usually how I look at my stock picks, is like, what countries do I want to invest in? What industry do I want to invest in? And then what company do I think has the most potential in that industry compared to 3 or 5 others?
Now you mentioned psychedelics. Are those completely legal in Canada yet?
No, but my understanding is that we're much further ahead than most countries in terms of regulations and permitting. So I know in Canada, psychedelics for use in palliative care and end-of-life care is now permitted and is being used on a somewhat regular basis. There's a number of companies setting up facilities and actual locations where you can go in and eventually have a psychedelic treatment. A lot of that, though, at the moment is going through government approvals and regulations. I do think we're 2 or 3 years away from any type of regular psychedelic treatments that isn't end-of-life care. But in terms of medical progress, I do think that Canada will probably be one of the first, Canada or the US will be one of the first 2 countries to really kind of scale it up. And as of right now, like my watch list for psychedelics is like 20 companies long. So there's a lot going on in the space. There's a lot of really exciting stuff. And there's a lot of different business models within psychedelics. There's a lot of people focused completely on medical treatment, and there's other companies completely focused on recreational microdosing. So to legally buy psychedelics is going to be a little ways out. I don't think recreational is going to happen very soon. And but if you want to buy,
you guys just did marijuana, right?
Yeah, we just did cannabis and marijuana. But like, if you want to buy psychedelics on the black market, it's super easy. You can just go on Instagram, and there's like 30 companies.
UFZ is not approved.
Yeah, no, they're not government approved or licensed or anything. But like, yeah, I could do an entire YouTube channel testing psychedelic chocolate bars if I wanted to.
It's very interesting. So here in the U.S., people who hold offices for the government or the public sector aren't allowed to own stocks in cannabis. Is the same true in Canada? Like you're not allowed those psychedelics based on the same reasoning? Or?
I can't answer that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know the right answer to that. I would assume so. But I don't know the answer to that legally, if they can own psychedelic or cannabis stocks. I'll look it up, see what we can find. But
fair enough.
Yeah, so government officials can't own cannabis stocks. Huh. I don't know.
Yeah.
So with those things that you were using in order to pick stocks for your portfolio, how much chart
technical analysis?
Yeah, chart analysis do you use in order to pick the stocks?
Yeah, so it depends on my time frame. I've got kind of a swing trading portfolio and a long-term portfolio. In my swing trading portfolio, it's almost all technical analysis, and then I'll take a look at the financials and the management and just look for red flags. Like if anything stands out as like a major concern or a major issue, that's where I'll pick it up. But most of it is technical analysis. So like Drone Delivery Canada, for instance, was like, okay, I identified the company as best business model in the industry. I liked the management. I liked the company. I used technical analysis to wait for a double bottom and a breakthrough of the trend line. And then that's when I entered my position. So it was kind of like identifying the opportunities, choosing the best company I liked, and then I waited for the entry point based solely on technical analysis. Like my entry point was solely technical analysis.
And that's when you got in at 94 cents.
No, Flight. Well, I got into the Canadian version, so it might be different. But FLT on the Canadian Venture Exchange, I got into that at 65 cents, and it's $1.44 right now.
Good.
Yeah.
Good
So, without giving away any trade secrets, like this is a part of your channel or something on your Discord, feel free to like defer people to subscribing to your service. But are there any particular indicators that you like to use? Like I try to lean towards MACD, RSI. Sometimes I'll use volume, but those are like the three that I usually feel pretty comfortable in using. Are there any that you kind of rely on that really help you with your TA?
I would say like those are probably the main ones. So RSI and MACD are always up on mine. I've got the volume always on a separate chart so that I can really look at volume. Volume's a big indicator for me. I like to use the Williams percentage R. I found not many people kind of use that one. It's similar to the RSI, but it calculates it a little bit differently in terms of
what's that one called? What's it called?
Williams percentage R. It operates almost identical to the RSI. Like you could look at one and look at the other. I found that sometimes it gives me a little bit clearer indications. I don't use Bollinger Bands much. I'm starting to use VWAP a little bit, but not all the time. Like my biggest thing for technical analysis is price action. And so areas of support and resistance, and then trend lines or trading within a channel, looking for an ascending or descending triangle. But like the majority of my analysis is price levels on the chart and the price action itself, and then a little bit of confirmation from the indicators such as the MACD, the RSI, the Williams percentage, and especially volume. Volume's a big one.
And for tracking those chart patterns, like ascending and descending triangles, double bottoms, are these things that you feel like you kind of got used to eyeing yourself, or are you using your trading tools to kind of capture these charts, or I guess signal you when they take place?
I'm drawing them on the chart and then recognizing from there. I'm not using anything else to tell me that it's a double bottom or a descending or ascending triangle. I'm going into the chart and looking at it and saying, okay, here's what the price action looks like. Here's key level of support, key level of resistance. Here's a very clear trend line based on 3 consecutive higher highs or 3 consecutive lower lows. And I'm drawing quite literally lines directly on the chart. And that's how I'm determining what the technical pattern looks like on the chart. I will try to confirm a breakout of support, resistance, or any of these trend lines by confirming that breakout with the indicators such as the RSI, the MACD. So if I get buy signals from the RSI and the MACD, I get a crossover of the moving average, and then the price action breaks through my trend line or breaks through previous resistance. Those are the boxes checking that say, okay, it's time to enter this trade. Make sure you're going in with an appropriate percentage of your portfolio. What's your entry? What's your exit? And where's your stop loss?
Very nice. UFZ folks, you've heard a lot of those words before, so you're using your Sundays pretty wisely. I feel like a lot of us could track that. So, all right.
Because didn't I just post about the ascending and descending triangles?
Last week. So.
Yeah, and everybody's got like different names for them, and the names don't really matter. It's just like figuring out what they mean and where the entry and exits are for them.
Yeah. So, Zach, every week on our Sunday lives, we kind of have a ongoing running joke every week that we have with our guests that we have on. And Rex is shaking his head right now because he was the first one to be the butt of our joke. So you're really young right now, so you may not know who these people are.
Oh no!
All right, but it has nothing to do with stocks. So,
jeez.
He didn't break a sweat on any stock question. Like what?
What stock question? I got this, man. But
you ready?
Who somebody is? I'm fucked.
You ready? Do you know who the Fat Boys are?
No.
90s babies. 90s babies.
I'm looking this up.
All right, go ahead. Take your time.
No, I don't know who these guys are.
Yeah.
Canada. You guys forget I'm in Canada.
True.
That's true. It's true.
We'll pass on that one.
It's a 90s baby thing. I think it's like just before our time, Zach. That's all.
These guys look sick though. They got an anaconda in one of these photos.
So look, here in Canada, so who's the biggest
Drake
in Canada right now?
Drake.
Be hip hop.
Like Drake's the
King, he top dog right now.
Yeah, like there's nobody bigger than Drake. And like you got Drake, and then to other people you got Justin Bieber, and then to old people you got a whole bunch. But Drake's like definitely the biggest artist, and then like Justin Bieber's I think pretty clearly number 2. So yeah, I don't know.
I think it's solid. Yeah.
So how far are you from Toronto? Because that's where Drake is from, right?
Yeah,
he's from Toronto.
Yeah, just outside of Toronto, I think. But yeah, and then I'm from West Coast, so I'm from I'm from Calgary, Alberta, so I'm 12 hours drive from Vancouver.
Wow, Vancouver. But I think you kind of line up with Texas, right?
I'm just above Montana. Yeah.
Montana. Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Same time zone as like Phoenix and Vegas, though.
Gotcha.
So do you trade? Do you get involved with options?
I was just about to ask that.
Do you just trade stocks?
No, I do options as well. I've got a course on Skillshare for options as well. Again, totally free. But yeah, I'm in options and warrants as well. So Drone Delivery Canada, they have 2 different, maybe even 3 different warrants. And I own warrants in Drone Delivery Canada. I also own warrants in a psychedelic company. Right now, I own options in Apple, and they're not doing so well. But okay. But yeah.
Yeah, hey, Zach, that's my go-to right there. So Apple's my go-to.
Yeah.
Look, that's why Robinhood was able to secure those.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Apple. So
for everybody that's watching right now, what would you say is the absolute biggest, or maybe even your top 2 or 3 biggest mistakes that people make when they get into trading options?
That's a lot of them.
Options specific?
Yeah, just strictly options.
Okay, yeah, they don't know what the terms are. Like that's like the biggest issue is somebody doesn't realize they're buying a contract, or that they're out of the money, or that it expires in 2 weeks instead of 4. Like those small little mistakes that like you probably don't make on a stock, you make them on an option, and it just screws you so hard. So just like understanding what you're actually buying. And then especially when you're buying 2 options at the same time, or you're doing a spread, anything that starts to get a little bit more complicated, if you don't fully understand that strategy before you get into it, I end up with a panic email at 3 a.m. with somebody that has no idea what they're doing, and I get way too many of those emails. So yeah, like I think people get into the stock market and then they hear about options and they go, oh, I'll just level up after a month or 2. And that's not the right way to do it. You need to fully understand how the stock market works, and owning and selling a stock, and like stick in that world for 6 months, and then go start to learn how an option works and fully digest and understand it. And then work on a practice account. Like that's probably the number 2 mistake is somebody doesn't start with practice money or paper money or a simulation account. If you are going to try a new strategy, or you're going to try out trading for the first time, or you're going to get into options, you need to do it with fake money, because your chances of success in the first 2 weeks are very, very low. So it's so much better to lose fake money instead of get 2 weeks in and have to claw yourself out. So I would say those are like the 2 big mistakes, is like start with fake money because you're going to lose it. And then make sure you know what the hell you're buying, because it's 3 times more complicated than buying a stock.
Right.
Yeah. I think one of Chad's first options, I think you accidentally sold a call when he was trying to buy the call.
Yep, I wasn't paying attention. Yep.
Yeah. And that happens so much.
Buy to sell instead of, what was it, open to buy or something like that.
Yeah. And it seemed like everybody who did it used TD Ameritrade, man. I think a TD Ameritrade must be confusing.
It makes it a little more confusing. Yeah, it's a little bit more buttons and whistles over there. So.
Yeah, and some of these platforms, it's really difficult to understand. So, and it's totally different from platform to platform as well. I have 2 here in Canada, Interactive Brokers and Questrade, and the way that you buy and sell stocks and options is just totally different screens and outlook and dashboards. So, those are the 2 big mistakes. And then take it slow, because options move quick.
Yeah. What is your goal? Like when you do options, do you have a goal, like a percentage wise, like 100%, or do you have a certain goal you have in your head?
Or you're just like, I believe in this company, I'm gonna let it run to expiration?
No. So the way that I use options might be a little bit different than most people, but what I'll do is, let's say I'm looking at Apple, for instance. Apple is extremely liquid, lots of shares. Same thing with the options. You can buy almost any strike price, anything you want. So if I'm going to make a trade on Apple, and I'm very confident in my trade and I think it's a good trade, but I want a higher risk reward ratio than what just the stock will do, that's when I'll buy options. And so I'll go into options that are 2, 3, 4 months out, slightly out of the money. And if I think the stock is about to break out, or it's currently breaking out and I think the stock is going to go up, I will buy the options to take advantage of the trade on the stock chart. So I'm always doing my technical analysis, and everything that I do is on the stock chart. And then I will use the options just to give me a higher risk reward ratio when I'm confident in the position. And I will almost only do that with very highly liquid stocks or high volume stocks. And then I also own long-term warrants in the companies that I believe in, which are similar to options, but they're issued by the company.
But what is your exit strategy? Like if you up 100% on the on the option, are you going to sell it or are you going to let it ride?
Depends on the technical analysis of the stock chart. So if I think the stock is about to turn around and you got the MACD crossing over and you got the RSI coming out of the spot, then I'm like, out, get out, like I'm done, peace out. But If that stock still looks like it's going to run and I think it still has momentum and my expiry is 2 months away, then I'll hold it and I'll keep it going. So the options for me are much looser in terms of my rules of like in and out at these levels, just because that's a little bit harder to predict with options. So I will still focus completely on the stock chart and the technical analysis of the stock chart as long as I have enough time till expiration on the options.
Right. So you don't mess with weeklies, because I hear you like warrants. Warrants are long term. You said 2 to 4 months out on your options. So you're like I like some cushion when you're dealing with those higher return vehicles.
If I'm swing trading or if I'm day trading, I'll do the options as well. It depends on the time frame. Like if I'm swing trading 1 to 3 month kind of moves, then I'm looking for options with some cushion, usually like a 1.5 times the time frame that I'm expecting. I'll add on 50%, so I'll definitely give myself some cushion when I'm swing trading. But if I am day trading, I'm usually scalping a position. Like I am in and out very short periods of time, and in those cases I'll use the options if the stock is not moving enough for me. So Apple is an instance of that, where like the stock chart doesn't move much, but it has very clear and consistent patterns. And so if I'm going to day trade Apple, I'll usually day trade the options, and those would be much shorter expiries. Those would be like if it's Wednesday, I'm trading the Friday expiry.
Okay. Yeah. I got some bad habits with weeklies, but I just wanted to know if you still touched on them. I made some poor decisions, but
but options make you greedy. I'm not going to lie. After I got a couple 1,000% gains, man, it just made me greedy. I can't do regular stocks no more.
If I'm going to hold overnight, I want a lot of cushion. If I'm going to scalp, then I'll go with the weeklies. But once you see the returns and you're like, fuck, if I owned the stock, it would have been 15%, but if I owned the options, it was 300%.
Right.
It's like, holy cow, like this is a whole new world. And that's why people get into it. But the problem is that every mistake you make and every wrong button you click is 100 times more costly as well. So you really need to know what you're doing.
98% down in a trading day.
Exactly. We got a question from our group from Jamal. He says, what are your thoughts on altcoins and the blockchain?
The blockchain is the underlying value and key to everything. Whether or not one particular coin is going to be a success, I have no idea. I'm probably not the right guy to tell you, but if you can invest in the blockchain and decentralized finance, whether it's through an altcoin, whether it's through a company, a miner, or Bitcoin, or whatever coin you want, I think that's the underlying value, and I think it's only going to grow over time. So I'm pretty bullish on cryptocurrency. Especially if we see more corporations begin to accept cryptocurrency. Like if we all of a sudden see Amazon and Apple accept Bitcoin and Ethereum one day, like that would be a game changer for the industry. And I think it would create a even larger tidal wave than what we've seen. The altcoins are tricky for me. I don't have enough experience or knowledge about any particular coin, but I think the blockchain is the key to everything there.
Have you ever felt like, or do you feel as if you can use TA to the same efficacy on crypto that you do on stocks, or you're kind of like, it's not my pool, I don't swim in it?
I've done it a little bit on Bitcoin. Like, I mean, when the price of an altcoin or the price of a Bitcoin or Ethereum is just movement on a chart, the exact same way that a stock price is. So yes, like you can perform technical analysis on it, because when I'm performing technical analysis, I'm looking for trends and change of trends, and how a crypto and how a stock act on a chart is the exact same. So if you can identify a change of trend of bearish performance changing into bullish performance, it's the same for a crypto as it is for a stock. So technical analysis, I believe, is still effective. For instance, if you looked at the Bitcoin chart over the last few years, in 2017, I believe it was, Bitcoin topped out at about $20,000 US. When Bitcoin got back to $20,000 US, it had major resistance before very clearly breaking out. And if you were performing any type of technical analysis on it, you could have very easily got into Bitcoin at $21,000 and wrote it up. So, I do think they converge a little bit for sure.
So the hottest news for the past couple of weeks probably has been those NFTs everybody's been talking about. What's your thoughts on those?
I'm a big fan of the idea and the concept behind them of digital art, but I'm slightly worried this might be a fad because I just feel like if I go out and I spend $100 or $1,000 or $1 million on a GIF or an image or an NFT, like
doesn't seem like that value is gonna hold.
Yeah. Like one is the value gonna hold, but like two, I don't know if I can swear here. Who the fuck wants to go to court to protect the gift that they bought from the fucking teenager down the street using it? Like, who the fuck is going to go to court and protect this? So, I don't know. I haven't bought any. I am so glad that some people are making money on it. Mm-hmm. It's the guy that bought the like $69 million art piece or whatever it was bought by like a Bitcoin billionaire. I feel like it's a bunch of crypto money putting back into this, so I'm not super concerned about it. I absolutely hate the idea of buying a highlight reel from
the NBA.
I don't know why, but like you're selling me something that you didn't even make. The athlete made it. I don't know. Like that whole concept just seems kind of messed up to me. But I think there will be applications for it in the future, especially for things like software and code and applications and things along those lines. But I don't understand people spending thousands of dollars on a GIF or a highlight reel.
I think it'll probably wind up being for music, like artists protecting their work. But I'm with you. But I think Bitcoin is conditioning me now to like not be like a conservative old man and just be like, that technology. And I'm like, all right, maybe I should watch this.
Yeah, but I think it's like it's not about the NBA highlight reel or the fucking cyber kitties. It's about the underlying technology of non-fungible tokens being stored on a blockchain that can be validated, that everybody can see. And it's the same thing with cryptocurrency. It's the blockchain and the ability that it's decentralized. That's the value there. And then it's just about whatever you stack on top is just the label of Bitcoin or Ethereum or NBA hotshots or whatever it is. The value is underlying. And I think 10 years from now, the application of that value will be very different than today. Like, I think you're right. Music's probably a great application for the technology. I think that's way better than somebody selling a GIF. So, yeah.
So in our group, we have a good mixture of seasoned vets in the game, beginners, mediocre traders, whatever you want to call them. So, like for those beginners, what kind of suggestions would you have for them to kind of weed through all the terminology, all the new concepts? Like, what would be your suggestions to them?
Yeah, my suggestion would be like, keep it simple. That's the biggest thing here, and start with a practice account. If you are new to the markets, if you are new to trading, if you're trying out a new strategy even, do it with fake money, do it in a practice account, because if you lose money, it doesn't matter, and the market is always going to be there. I was super nervous about missing out on Apple when I first got into the market, and 6 years later, 7 years later, Apple's still freaking here, and everybody's talking about it. So start with a practice account and try and get as much education as you possibly can, because I think we could all look back and say, geez, if we had spent the first year just learning what we had learned now instead of spending half of it trying to trade and lose money, we'd be much better off later on. So education and not losing money in the beginning are the two most important factors to your success. And then what I preach is, you need to build a strategy. You need to journal your trades and keep track of your performance so that you can gather data and refine that strategy, build a better strategy over time, and then go back into the markets. And so that's my philosophy of trading is you need to start with practice money. You need to have a trading journal. You need to write down your strategy. If you can't write down your strategy and your risk mitigation and your position sizing and your diversification, if you can't write that down, then you don't have a strategy. And if you're not keeping track of it, there's no way to refine it and improve it over time. So those are my like big takeaways, my key points that I try to enforce with new traders.
A quick question. Does your online course, do you go over charts and technical analysis?
Yeah. So it's like 9 hours of step-by-step, how the stock market started, how the stock market works, what a candlestick is, what every indicator is, how to put it all together, how to develop your own strategy and write it out, and then how to perform actual technical analysis. And then there's like 10 videos in there of me making actual trades throughout COVID. And then it goes into fundamental analysis as well of how to pull the financials, how to understand each financial document, how to put it all together. And then I do the exact same thing for options as well. And it's hosted on Skillshare. It's completely free. We'll try and put a link out there, hopefully, or it's underneath all of my YouTube videos. And you get 2 weeks on the platform. My course is 9 hours. So if you can do the entire course in under 2 weeks, cancel your subscription. You just got the entire thing for free. And I'm literally taking every other stock market course on YouTube right now. And I can tell you that mine has all of the exact same content. So,
oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah. So lots going on there. But everything's on Skillshare and it's totally free, which has helped a lot of people. There's over 3,300 students and 200 reviews for the stock market fundamentals course, which you don't see very often. So lots going on.
I love that you take time to go into the company's financials, because I think even for us, I think we've kind of failed on that. We talk about charts and try to teach people on TA, but I don't think we've ever taken some time to say, this is how you should assess a company's financials and, assess it for healthiness.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing there is like, you're never going to find a buy or a sell signal in the financials. Like it's just not up to date enough. But what you will find is red flags. So if you find poor management, or the company keeps issuing shares, or ridiculous expenses, or $3 billion of goodwill on the balance sheet, like going through the finances is how you find those red flags within a company. And so all of my entry and exits are based on technical analysis. I do a quick check of the company and the financial statements and the management, just to make sure that I'm not going into something that's about to blow up. So for instance, in the drone industry over the last 2 months, there's been 2 short seller reports that have come out and said these companies are just complete frauds. And so if you do your due diligence on the fundamentals, hopefully you can pick up on most of those, or at least avoid them and figure that out.
So you kind of like, from what I've gathered so far, you think of industries or company niches that you think will be successful, compile a list of those companies, and then you go into the financials and try to prove yourself why this particular company listed is a wrong choice, and then boil it down to a few, and then you do the TA on those select few.
Yeah, pretty much. The only problem is that in a lot of the companies I'm focused on, they're emerging industries, they're younger industries, and they're younger companies. So for instance, Drone Delivery Canada didn't have hardly any financials. They had no revenue. So sometimes the financials are really difficult to look at. And in those cases where it's a very young industry and very young companies, I'm focused more particularly on the business model and the strategy and how they generate revenue and profit, because I absolutely hate the idea of building drones and selling. I hate the idea of building drones and selling drones, because the margins just aren't there. You're selling hardware at that point and you're going to make 20% on it. It just absolutely sucks. But Drone Delivery Canada, they outsource the manufacturing, they'll ship the drone to you. And then every time that you run a flight from North Carolina to South Carolina, they're going to make money on it. They're going to make a profit on it, and you're going to have to pay Drone Delivery Canada for it. So they have the best business model. And I also thought they had really good management. I actually interviewed the CEO on my channel. So, but yes, it starts with the big picture, the country I want to invest in, the industry that I think there's going to be high growth in that I want exposure to. And then I try to find the best companies within that industry. And if I have strong enough conviction, I'll buy multiple companies within that industry.
Solid. Appreciate that.
Yeah. No worries.
Hey, Zach, I'm trying to put the link up, but that joint long as I don't know what. Goodness. You ain't got no.
Oh, wow.
What's that? You got a short way.
Yeah, I got a different one for you.
Okay. Yeah. Send me that one.
Okay. Let me. Yeah.
So you filled up the whole banner.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. No, I got one here for you.
Okay.
How do I send it to you? Private message or private
Yeah,
chat?
You can send a private message. Private chat. Yeah.
There you go. I just sent it in.
Okay.
But yeah, so I got a course on there for the stock market fundamentals. That one's like 9 hours long. There's another course on there for options that walks you through the full introduction of everything you need to know about options and how to get started. And then the last one's for personal finance, how to calculate your net worth, build your credit, put together a budget, and pay down the most high interest debt first. So those are the kind of things that are in there. But yeah, 3 courses, and you can do all 3 of them totally free on Skillshare for 14 days. So
definitely make sure we get that into the group.
Yeah, please. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be checking out that.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of live trades in there as well. So I'm trading Air Canada and Apple and Lululemon and a bunch of different things. And you can see the entry and exits.
What made you get in Lululemon?
My girlfriend bought me some pants from them like a year ago. And they're really nice. Like, I don't know why, but they feel really good. And then I realized they had a stock. And then I got in and out. And that one was technical analysis. That one was, I think, in and out in like a month or 2. But that's how I realized Lululemon was publicly traded. And then, like, just last week, an old trading platform I used to use, eToro, I just found out that they're going through a SPAC and they're about to publicly list this week. So, like, some of the trades are word of mouth, but yeah, it kind of depends. If it's a short-term trade, then some of the rules change a little bit and it's more based on the opportunity. But anything swing trading or long-term investing is that kind of approach that I told you about.
All right. Let me ask a more personal question, and not too personal though. Your best trade and your worst trading experience.
Yeah. So my worst trading experience was my first trade. I was sitting in my basement and it was Twitter Investor Day. So Twitter had all of their management and put on a big presentation and talked about the future of Twitter and how great it was going to be. And I was sitting there as a young kid. I was like, I was 16 or 17. And I was about to make my first trade. And everybody told me to buy Apple and said, just buy Apple and hold it long term. And I sat there and I watched the Twitter Investor Day. And I bought Twitter stock at like $44 back in like back years ago, like years and years ago. And I think like last year, Twitter just got back to like $44. I don't even know what it's at anymore. I don't watch it because it pains me. But Apple has gone up by like 600% since then. And I just kicked myself. So that was my worst trading experience. It was my first trade ever. I bought Twitter. I lost 50% on it. And then I should have bought Apple and I would have made 600 on it and just hold it. So that was my worst trading experience. My best trading experience, I got into
$1 million. $1 million. Go ahead, tell us.
I got into Tesla at $220 before the split. So that one was really good. I sold out just after the split, and then I've been in and out, kind of swing trading it ever since. That one was really good. I got into Mind Medicine, a psychedelic stock. I'm into that one at 64 cents. That one's currently... let's see. That one's currently at $3.18. So I'm up 396% on that one. And then earlier this year, I played a lot of options in the electric vehicle charging space. So both Blink and ChargePoint. And those were a couple 800 and 900% option plays. So
damn.
I've had a couple of like big risky winners. And I'd say my bread and butter is like 50% trades, is like pretty medium-sized risk. And then if it's an options trade, 50 to 100%. If it's a stock trade, I'm usually in and out between 20 and 50%. But I'm usually in younger, smaller growth stocks. Unless I'm day trading, then I'm usually scalping large stocks.
Nice. Hey, that psychedelic you mentioned, the ticker for that is MMED, right?
Yeah, exactly. MMED.
I saw some people talking about it in your Discord.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular stock, especially in the psychedelic space. They're the second largest by market cap the last time I checked. And Kevin O'Leary, the guy from Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, he's a big investor in them. So he helps get the word out there fairly often.
Nice.
But like these companies are wild, man. They've got drugs in the pipeline for psilocybins, like magic mushrooms. They've got drugs in the pipeline for LSD as well as DMT, which is the drug in ayahuasca tea. So there's a lot of research and a lot of effort going into these psychedelic drugs, all based around mental health.
That ayahuasca tea is off the chain.
Yeah, I've heard. I interviewed a CEO of a company focused on DMT the other day, and he said it saved his life. It was a complete game changer for him. It gave him a whole new outlook, and now he runs a company, Numinous Wellness, and they're completely dedicated or sorry, not Numinous, Entheon Biomedical, and they're completely dedicated to the development of DMT as a treatment for mental health, depression, anxiety, and particularly drug addiction. Yeah, Entheon Biomedical is that company.
Now, the reason I said that was because I saw a guy drink it on Vice one night. And he was doing some wild stuff.
Oh, I thought Chad was speaking from his Miami experience.
Hey, you messing with the ayahuasca tea, man. Sure.
Yeah, it's some pretty wild stuff. Now, the stuff that'll be happening in Canada and on the medical side is completely made in a chemical lab. So it's not brewed in a tea or anything. It's a complete chemical that is actually going to be injected intravenous. So kind of like a bag of water, saline water that they put into your arm. That's how they'll take it. And it'll just be a small dose that's controlled. And the reason they do it that way is because the guy that drank it, the tea, that you saw in that Vice News. The problem with that is that he drinks the tea and then it sits in his stomach. And the only way for it to come out is for him to puke it or piss it out. And so that takes a very long time and it gets stuck in his system. Whereas if you do it intravenous and you do it basically through a bag like that, you can pull out the intravenous and you're done in 10 minutes. And so that's why they do it that way. Right? Like imagine if you could turn that experience on and off in 10 minutes instead of the nightmare of hell that he went through.
Yeah, because that was hell he went through.
Yeah, right. So the goal now is for some of these companies to turn that experience into a medical treatment that is quite literally on and off in 10 minutes and has a lot of guidelines and restrictions around it.
Yeah, there was also an episode of Vice where they extracted I'm not going to say a venom, but it was some kind of liquid they extracted from a frog.
Yeah.
And I forgot how the guy put it. I can't remember how he put it in the system, but that dude was high.
I've heard of that. I've seen that, I think. And it's crazy, man. It's a whole nother world in these psychedelics. And I've met several people, like real life person to person, that have started the microdosing of taking a small dose every day or every 2 or 3 days. And I've met 2 or 3 people now that say it has completely revolutionized and changed their life. So I do think it's going to be a big change. I think it's going to be a big shift. I'm starting to think it's going to be less and less like cannabis and more of just a strictly medical type of use case, at least in Canada to start. But I do think it's going to open some major doors and it's going to put a lot of pressure on regular pharmaceuticals.
We got another question. Hold on. They said, do you custom his studies or go with the regular numbers for MACD, RSI, William percentage R, etc.?
I usually don't touch the MACD. I will adjust the RSI, and I don't really adjust the Williams percentage R. If the RSI is going in and out of the overbought or oversold zone, I will make it a larger number so that it's more smooth.
More defined. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that I can just get better signals and better buy and sell indicators out of it. But that's about it. The only time that I would adjust the studies is to just smooth them out if they're very choppy.
Right.
If that answers your question. Otherwise, I usually leave them as the same, and then I'll almost always have 2 moving averages on one on a fairly short time frame, usually 9 to 15. Maybe 20 days, and then one on usually a 50 or 80 day time frame.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. And the idea with those is when the price action crosses above one or the other, it's just a sign or an elevating factor that, hey, we could be seeing a trend reversal.
All right.
Can't laugh at this. All right.
Well, stock news. Did you hear about this? This SOFI. Is it SOFI or SOFI? I guess SOFI.
I think it's SOFI. Yeah, we use it.
They're going to allow amateur investors to get in the IPOs before they go live.
Man, I'm going through this process in Canada with a couple like private equity investments, and it is so difficult here to do anything that isn't just a regularly traded stock. So This is super interesting to me. How do you know?
Huh?
Do you know how they're doing this? Is it just like, here's the forms and an investor sends in a check?
No, you sign up from what I read. You sign up for the SOFI account, and then, but they say you have to have at least $3,000 in your account, and they making some type of deals on the back end with the companies before they go public, and you can buy at that price. So it's kind of
because in Canada, we have a lot of restrictions around being an accredited investor. And if you're not an accredited investor and you're not friends or family or a close acquaintance, it's really difficult to get into some of these deals. Do you guys have the same issue in the US?
I think that's what you just see. Yeah. We don't get into it until all early investors have bought. And then maybe like 2 p.m. on the trading day, then we'll be able to hop in.
And then by that time, sometimes it's doubled or triple. Remember that? What was the one that went up a couple months ago? Snow. Oh man, I wanted to get snow, man. That was an avalanche by the time it went live. So it was like $250.
Same thing with Airbnb. Everybody thought Airbnb was going to come out way lower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the institutional investors were able to get it. You know what I'm saying?
$65, $67 hits the market 180.
Yeah, so if you can get in on these deals, you can make some absolutely massive returns, and these guys become millionaires overnight. But the problem is getting access to the deals and then qualifying for the deals is at least pretty difficult in Canada. So I'm really interested in this. I haven't done any research on SOFI.
Yeah, look that up because they're saying that they. Sure. Yeah, I know the one limitation they just said you got to have $3,000 in your account in order to be able to do it, but that was the only thing they said.
That's way lower than the accredited investor levels, though. So
yeah. So I think that's going to be real big. Let me see what else did I have. Upcoming, y'all looking at any of these upcoming earning reports for this week?
Market is too choppy for me right now, so I'm just playing with SPY and UVXY. So that's it for me right now.
I took a look at Chewy this week. They got good financials. They're growing 30 to 45% year over year. They don't make any money yet, but they do online. They do online pet products and pet food and dog food and like everything. But what I like about them is that they can ship in 1 to 3 days. So they're now competing directly with Amazon, and the revenue's growing extremely fast. And they're about a 5x price to sales ratio. So I like Chewy, and it's sitting on a little bit of technical support right now, but I haven't bit the bullet on it yet. They have earnings on Tuesday, so I'm interested to see how that goes. But the revenue year over year is up 30 to 40% for the last 3 years.
When you find this financial information on companies like Chewy, are you looking at 10Ks or where do you like to go? What's your go-to for financials?
I usually like to look at the last 3 years. So yeah, those are 10Ks, I believe. And then the quarterly, I'll always go to the last quarter, which is the 10Q. And then it kind of depends on how much due diligence I'm doing. Like if I'm going into the balance sheet and everything, I'll pull up the full reports. If I'm just doing a quick check, I'll just go to Yahoo Finance.
Solid.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what ExpressSpa is going to look like. Wasn't ExpressSpa that company that was setting up COVID testing at airports? Since COVID is slowing down, I'm curious to see what they're doing.
Which one is this?
That's after close on Wednesday.
Will you see that? Oh, Wednesday.
Oh, ExpressSpa, yeah. So they're like,
they're supposed to.
They do the massages in the airport.
Them, man.
Did you?
Yeah, because remember Alex was putting us on to that. Remember they
supposed that's
some merger or something.
Alex did.
Yeah, man. I ain't talked to Alex for 3 weeks after that.
Other than that, I don't really see nothing too interesting except for BlackBerry. That's Anika's.
That's her baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
They made a lot of money. The group.
I think CarMax would benefit a lot from Carvana and those other online car dealerships, because while people, are more comfortable with ordering a car online, I think they're still double checking those cars via CarMax. So that's I think Thursday before open. I'd be interested to see that.
So Zach, we put out our picks for the upcoming week. Did you want to get in on this session?
Yeah. How many picks we put up?
We just do one.
Just
You
one.
You can do
two or
special
three.
guest.
Nah,
Two or
yeah,
three. Special.
Ain't no limit. Yeah, do 2 or 3. You the special guest.
Yeah, just don't list 15 and be like, look, one of these hit, I'm a genius.
For every bit of what you want off tonight, brother.
Okay, so I got one Canada stock for you, and I got one U.S. stock for you. The U.S. stock is a SPAC. It is called FinTech Acquisition Corp 5. It's actually like a V instead of 5. The ticker symbol is FTCV. It's a SPAC that is about to merge with a company called eToro, which is a stock brokerage and trading platform where you can actually copy somebody's trades. So if you wanted to copy my trades, you could invest 10 G's and it'll do it automatically. And you can also buy fractional shares on there. So I really like the platform. It's not available in Canada because they got kicked out, but it is available in the US. And the stock, it ran up from like $10 on major news to a high of $15.70. It came all the way back down to $11. It had a beautiful green day on Friday, closing at $11.90. It may be bouncing off of support right now. And so if we see this continue on Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to be buying into this one.
What was the ticker for that, Zach?
FTCV.
So, Foxtrot, Tango, Charlie, Victor.
Yeah, so that's the U.S. stock that I got my eye on this week. And then the Canadian stock is a company called Real Luck Group. And so the ticker symbol is LUCK. They trade on the TSX Venture Exchange. So I don't think you'll be able to get it on Robinhood, but you should be able to get it on any regular day trading brokerages. And this company is really interesting because they do sports betting, but instead of doing it on NFL and NBA, they do it on esports. So your League of Legends tournament that just brought in massive numbers the last year, record numbers, and Call of Duty and all of these massive games that are blowing up over the last few years, especially with COVID. This is the company that you can actually bet on who's going to win those tournaments and those challenges. And so my theory is that as games evolve and get better and virtual reality, augmented reality, I think the audience of people that game is going to grow. And I think the idea of betting on those gamers is going to become very popular. So the ticker symbol is LUCK. They got some resistance at $1. They broke out to a high of $1.80. They came back down and they're pretty much sitting on support at $1 right now. So if we see a clear bounce and a move up from $1, I'll probably add to my position with them. I've already got a small position in it.
And right, that's what your cousin was playing 2K in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could bet on your brother. You could literally bet on your brother in this application, and it'll do everything for you in the esports world. And so, like, sports betting is blowing up right now, and I think it's going to do the same thing for esports. I think we're very early right now, but I'm very bullish on the world of esports as well as sports betting. So this stock kind of aligned with both of those.
Got it. For those interested, I was able to find both tickers in Webull. So even if Robinhood doesn't allow you to, Webull will.
Oh, for real? The Canadian one?
Yeah, FTCV and Luck were both in Webull.
Awesome.
Because that time, Chad, the one that you did, the Canadian one,
it had a US version, which was Takeoff.
Oh, so they have US version?
Speaking on was the Canadian version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they do that. So they have one on each version. One for Canada and one for US. Do they normally do that?
Yeah, sometimes it's common. Like when we have US holidays, people will often like track Tesla's trading in another country's exchange to like indicate what might happen when we open back up.
So, but is Tesla on a different stock exchange in another country?
I believe it could be like a different price. It'll be like this is the price in the US, and then there's like Tesla, I don't know, like Philippines, and it's, this price.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you gonna put your pick up for this week next? Who going next?
No, you next. I might not have a pick this week.
I'm next. Come on, man.
I just did 2. You got to have a pick, Ed.
I got one. I got a penny stock I'm looking at. So I'm like, go ahead, Chad. Let me find it.
My pick for the week is Occidental Peak Corp, and the ticker for that is OXY.
Oxy. Oh
Yep.
man, what's going on over there?
And I'm gonna go for a I just had it. Sorry, fellas. May 7th, $30 call, and right now the premium is at $1.28. It shot up on Friday during the day, but I'm gonna wait for a pullback slightly on Monday. If it pulls back, I'm gonna hop in. If that premium drops a little bit.
What was the ticket? OXY?
OXY.
See what that joint
And
talking
what
about.
was the strike price you were?
$30.
Let me see what that joint ain't doing nothing. Hold on, let me see. That joint ain't doing a damn thing, Chad.
Does the volume matter when you take a trade like that?
Chad,
To me?
yeah.
Yes.
He's like, he's asking the volume picks.
Yes.
Okay.
And the volume is, man, I can't see it. I can't see it. Can y'all see it?
So you said Oxy?
Yeah.
No.
For some reason, it won't come up on my app.
Looks like volume spiked up to 1.15 million sometime last week, but outside of that, I'm not seeing a lot of activity. So
No, I mean like on the options though, because like when I pull up that option, it has just really low volume on it. Like, do you have any trouble getting in and out of that option?
No, I don't think so.
yeah, I think that all really comes into play. I've only seen, usually I could buy crazy out the money contracts and no clear. One time I have a problem is like if I'm trying to buy like 100 contracts, then it's like 5 or 7 have cleared. But if you're doing like a little, playing around here and there, usually you're fine.
Gotcha.
Zach, what you're looking at, is it extremely low? Because if it's extremely low, I'm not getting in it.
No, I don't know. I'm looking at Oxy May 7th, $30 call, $30 strike on a call option. And like when I go to the volume for March 26th, I only see 7 transactions. So that's where I'm like, I wonder if it's.
Nah, then I'm not getting in that then. That's way too low, man.
Fair enough. Yeah. For me, like I said earlier on, I think in my first week where I've been like, I don't really have a pick, but for this week, I'm really watching SPY and UVXY, and Ed's got screenshots from some of my plays earlier this week up right now. What I'm doing is I found through paying tuition to the stock market that it is better to look for UVXY to go into an oversold position and buy a put than it is to try and catch UVXY in an oversold position and try and catch it running up. So I like puts for UVXY because I'm bullish long term, but it's like there's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. So whenever it runs up, I'm literally just staring at those charts. As soon as I see a MACD reversal pop up, I see the RSI reflect over bot, then I'm looking for puts. And that's how I was able to pull off that 400%. And then, in that same day, SPY puts, things have kind of been a little choppy. I don't think I'm going to be on SPY puts very much longer, but we'll see how it goes at the beginning of the week. But playing hedges.
Were these the two that you caught the 200% profit on earlier in the week this week? Yeah,
exactly. So I found that anytime I did calls to UVXY, your opportunity to profit the frame was a lot smaller than waiting for it to shoot up and catch it on the way down. So I worked out. I was able to do it 3 more times that week. Damn. And then I got some SPY puts for this week. I'm probably going to exit them whenever I can, and then just trying to watch TA and see if we're looking at, a bullish trend, because I think we've been red for 3 weeks. So I don't know how much longer we're going to keep that up.
You going to hop out there, Ed?
No, I'm going to pass this week.
All
So we got FTCV from Zac. We got Luck from Zac. We got Oxy from Chad. I'm watching the overall market with SPY puts and UVX puts if we do run down. And then I think Zac said he's interested in Chewy. Didn't give it a recommendation, but something that he's watching. And we got BlackBerry. That's something that the overall group has been watching, Sneaker. And then I'm interested in CarMax.
Oh, hey, Zac, do you play the ERs? Like, do you buy before ER if you think an ER is going to do good?
Like, you mean earnings release or?
Yeah, earnings release. Like, if you think it's going to be like a
I can tell by the look on his face.
if the stock has fallen off going into what I think is going to be a good earnings release, then yeah, I would buy it, and I'd probably buy the options in that case, and I would just do short term, either win or lose on that kind of trade.
Okay.
It depends on the company, but yeah, if the stock is falling off and I think it's going to have a great earnings, then yeah, I would trade that.
Usually, is that something you do fairly often, or you're like, I'm a TA guy, leave the ERs alone?
I keep track of the earnings releases and I know when they're going to come out, and I try to make sure that I'm well aware of that when I enter into a trade, but I do not trade off of the earnings release, not usually.
Fair enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, Zac, it's been a pleasure you coming on with us for the UFC Stock Trader Sunday Night Live. Appreciate you. Welcome back anytime, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Come back anytime, Zac.
Cool. Definitely.
All right. I'll enjoy your afternoons and your spring breaks if you're still in school.
Oh, before it goes, Rex, I got a question for you.
What's going on, son?
Who's this?
Oh man, come on. Man.
Wow, West.
Hey, Rex, you about to lose your right now, bro. You better hurry up and you better know this one.
Wow, West. I used to live downtown. You never heard Wild West?
Nah, I've never heard it. I like this man's outfit though. Like his outfits are fly. I just don't.
That was Cool Mo D. That was Cool Mo D.
Cool. I was 100% not gonna get that. Not at all. I thought you were gonna hit me with like, yo, that's Rex in effect. You should know your surname. I was like,
oh yeah, all right, okay.
All
right, man. Y'all take it easy, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right,
Peace out.